regardless of what I'm facing, I have to apply and give it out. Yeah.
When you look at the training that is going into nurses who are coming up in the profession, would you say that, and this is interesting because there are quite a number of calls for nurses outside of Kenya, and there are certain countries which make these calls. The UK is a big one, Canada is a big one, Germany another one, and Kenyan nurses are actually in high demand.
They're hotcakes.
Indeed. And here we're talking about a situation whereby you've not hired enough, but that doesn't mean that there are no nurses.
Nurses are coming, graduating each and every year. We have nurses graduating.
Yeah, and some of them are being snapped up by these countries outside. Yeah. So the training is not... talk to the training that is being given to Kenyan nurses. Is education up to scratch and everything that you need for the profession? Is it being provided in these education circles? And then after that, talk to the snap up that's happening by these external countries. Is it okay? And do we find that there are lots of Kenyan nurses who are actually finding their way outside of the country where they could be working here?
For those nurses going outside the country, it is a greener pasture. If you woke up one morning and then they told you, Citizen is giving you maybe ×2 what you're getting here, would you remain here?
My boss is listening to this conversation, so the possibility.
Would you? So, job opportunities are there, and given that working hours and then the ratio of staffing outside is better than in Kenya, that's why we're having nurses leaving the country each and every day. And it's not that it's every month, it's each and every day there's a nurse leaving the country for a greener pasture. Whatever we are being taught is it's like it's the best in the world, because you come to Australia, they are looking for Kenyan nurses. US is looking for Kenyan nurses. Even the Arabian countries are looking for Kenyan nurses. Why? Because we are giving the best. We get the best from our MTCs, we get the best. So if the government can just tap in and inquire, why, what is this that Australia is offering that we can also chip in and retain the nurses?
Well, they're offering the dollar.
Yeah. So if that is the dollar, then let the government also impress the dollar and then retain the nurses.
So, apart from the greener, the assumption is when you hear nurses leaving the country for greener pastures, it's taking care of the old people in homes, cleaning diapers, cleaning them, putting diapers and doing all those kind of things. There is a way the profession, to some degree, to some people, may appear very degrading, like you're at the bottom of the medical field, because you're the ones who handle, like we say, typically in a hospital, when a patient is not able to take care of themselves, it's not the doctor, the surgeon who comes in to just tick the boxes and see us asking, did you do this? Yes. Did you do this? Yes. If there's something wrong, the doctor will walk away. It's you, the nurse, who's going to then take care of this patient. Apart from, the policymakers and everything else that we've just talked about, do you feel that society appreciates or even understands the role a nurse plays in a health institution to the level where you are respected equally with the others within the medical field? Do you feel society itself?
Partly yes, partly no. Why do I say no? Because anything that comes out louder is when a nurse has done a mistake. If there's anything that there was a gap that a nurse did 1, 2, 3, it will come out louder, and it will be a story of even a century. But let me give an example. Like the nurse who conducted a delivery in an SGR. How long did it go? It was a week, and then the story ended. But if there was an incident that a nurse did something and then unfortunately a patient passed on, how long does it take, even in the social media?
Trends for a long time.
It trends forever. It's never for a long time. It will be a clip that, in case of anything happening in a hospital, it will be the first one.
You're reminded of yes.
So we feel not appreciated by the society. Why? Because you always look for the mistake that a nurse does. You never look at anything good that Claire can do. If Claire can dress a wound until this patient goes home, that one will never be captured anywhere. But if Claire made a mistake, maybe this wound worsened, tomorrow it will be Claire. Claire did this. Claire mismanaged our patient. The word comes mismanaged. But if Claire did something good, that loud shout and applause will never be heard.
So Claire, how would we then fix this? Because there is so much good that nurses continue to do on a daily basis, and this is never celebrated. We never seem to be giving nurses the flowers that they deserve rightfully so. And you look at it in terms of from the policy level trickling down all the way to even facilities and even to societies. So then how do we fix that and make the people understand that when you go to a hospital, the first person you meet is a nurse, and probably they are the ones who will take care of you until you leave the hospital. How do we communicate these messages so that the patients, Kenyans, understand?
I would say people like Dennis should come out louder. Dennis he's told us he has 3 surgeries, and he's come out. He's now here.
He's still alive.
Very healthy. Those are the people who should come out loud and say, if it was not a nurse, maybe something wrong could have happened. The policymakers should appreciate the nurses through remuneration. Motivation doesn't mean that you should give me cash. Just coming out and saying, Claire did this thing, we appreciate you for it. It makes me feel motivated to hold on into nursing. We've had so many nurses who've even stopped practicing nursing because they feel not appreciated. You go to the society, what you'll receive as the first statement is, "Nyinyi nurses mnafanyanga." You see, there's no day they'll say, mara hii mumejaribu. They look for the negative. The negative will come out louder than the appreciation that we receive.
Well, it cuts across different things, but let's talk about money. How much does a nurse earn in this country? And I don't know whether to level it in the sense that you have a nurse in the neonatal section, or just generally a nurse. How much at the entry point? You finished your course. You're now employed as a nurse. How much does a nurse earn?
I wouldn't want to give the figures.
No, please go ahead. Because it's too small.
It's not enough.
No, but it's the reality. Because we've asked doctors, how much do surgeons earn, for example? How much do certain groups earn? And it's very, very clear. For nurses, so that we understand the realities, because we're having this conversation about the realities of nursing. The reality at the end of the day, despite the understaffing and everything that you go through, there is what then you put in the pocket and you go home with. There's an expectation at home. A nurse has a family back at home.
Something lower than 50,000.
Lower than 50,000?
Yeah. For a start, lower than 50,000.
That's gross.
Yeah. A nurse working in the government institution. Yeah.
Across levels? Let's go from a dispensary, obviously, because we're not going to probably see. If we're talking about then from a level 2 hospital through to a level 6.
Yeah, the salary doesn't
change regardless of the level of hospital.
But for level 6, now that is the Kenyatta National Hospital, Moi Teaching and those ones are different.
Yeah.
Those are different. But for a government institution, including the allowances, we are there.
You know, it's a difficult conversation to have, because if you look at even what the doctors usually push for, especially when it comes to the intern doctors, whenever they get in, you're talking about 200,000 for an intern doctor that they're pushing through KMPDU. But you're talking about a nurse who's been employed getting less than 50,000 bob. And one asks the question, is it that policymakers do not understand the importance of a nurse, or is it that they just don't care? Where would you place the blame on?
Maybe they don't understand the impact nurses give to the society and to the institution. One thing I would just say, if you woke up one morning, Dennis, and you found all nurses out of hospitals, who will give that care? If you just woke up one morning, there is no nurse in that facility, how will it look like? How will it look?
Well, the hospitals will shut down.
Well, essentially,
Scales,
yes.
yeah.
So if they will shut down, who is the backbone of healthcare?
It's the nurses.
It's the nurses. So the policymakers should also consider and look at the nurses' issues and handle nurses as nurses. Let us not just be like any other profession. You know, a nurse is somebody who is dealing with life. With life. If you break a nurse, you are breaking this person I'm handling. That's what I believe. If I woke up one morning, my employer is on me, that I've done something wrong, will I be able, with a sober mind, handle a patient in that day? Because I'm human. I'll go down. I'll be drained. So when I'll be going to that patient, I'll not give my best. So if the government and the policymakers would really look into nursing issues and award nurses the respect and the honors they deserve, Kenya would be the best place to work.
So interesting yesterday, because also talking in the medical sphere circles and looking at, you know, a particular county where the need was for the man at the top essentially to talk to stakeholders, in this case being doctors. Where is there top-down leadership? Where is there a conversation about, first of all, acknowledgement that of the selfless work that this group of individuals does communally as well as on an individual basis? Is there a conversation being had? Is there recognition? Is there acknowledgement of that sacrifice? Yeah, you're being paid for, we get it, and that you can also do better. But are the conversations warm, essentially? And I say warm because, you know, when you want to keep something for consummation, you need to keep it, you don't keep it in the freezer. Are those conversations warm? Does it exist in the first place? Is there somebody having the conversation, or do we wait until there's a strike and then people remember, oh, there are nurses in Kenya?
I think you've answered yourself. We have to wait until you hear we are on toes. Then is when, okay, these people need to be addressed. I think our plight is hard more when we go on the streets. But we rarely do. We rarely do because we have that. I think somebody said initially, before I went to college, somebody said nursing is a calling. Partly yes. Then you question, will we survive with the calling in this economy? It is a calling.
You're not going to eat the calling.
That is the thing. That's the question. Am I going to eat the calling? Because when we go on strike, Kenyans come out loud and clear. Nursing is a calling. But am I going? Is there a supermarket indicated for nurses? These nurses, because they have a calling, the prices are different. Here we are.